the game was different, right? The rules was different. The ball was different.
The Euro style is different in America.
The Euro style was a lot different than America.
That's the first time y'all seen that Euro step too, huh?
Absolutely.
Hi, everybody. My name is Simon Zajicek. I'm from Prague, Czech Republic, which is in Central Europe. I've done my university about 4 years ago. I graduated. I went to Kansas City to William Jewell College with the Cardinals, and I studied international relations there. I actually accomplished something that I'm very proud of. I graduated a year earlier than I was supposed to. I did only 3 years at Jewell. The reasons there were many reasons for that, but one of them was that I had a injury that kept me from playing, and I had to figure out how to do it. And I felt like I was using my scholarship on somebody else's time, because I couldn't play. So I talked to the coach and talked to my advisors, and I graduated in 2017, which was a year earlier than I was supposed to. And now I'm still playing ball, although not in any shape or form serious as I was in the United States. But that's because the United States and the university experience opened the world to me. And now I can do so many things that I enjoy, whether it's politics, whether it's education, and anything between.
Perfect. Thanks for being with us today, Simon. Really, really, really appreciate it. How did you choose, and why did you choose your university?
So I was in a position when I was 19 years old. I was in a position where my time was running out to get some offer in the United States. So I was fortunate to meet with probably one of the greatest people in basketball in Czech Republic or Slovakia, Julian Betko. I was fortunate to get in touch with him, and he when he started his academy in Prague, GBA, he took us to a bunch of tournaments in the United States and Europe, so we can get exposure and we can meet agents. And I was fortunate to meet some agents in the United States when we went to a tournament in Rhode Island. It was the Prep Invitational, and some agents got in contact with me there, even though I didn't have that many good games. But they saw the drive, and they saw I play with my heart, not only with my skills. And I got in touch with them, and then they contacted me several months after that. And they told me that there's a D2 school in Kansas City that would be interested in talking to me about an opportunity to go there and play. I was excited to hear news like that, because I still at that point didn't really have the full trust in myself to get to the United States. I trusted myself, but people around me said, hey, it's not easy to get a scholarship offer in the United States. So I actually didn't choose Jewell. Jewell chose me in a sense, because I didn't have many offers. I had another offer that I got after I committed to William Jewell. So I didn't really explore that option, because I committed on the phone immediately when the offer came, and I talked to the coach. So that was the opportunity I was given was it was June. Yeah. It was late June, and I had to take it. Well, I couldn't say no to an opportunity like that. So I jumped on it. I said that I will definitely go there. Lucky for me, I wasn't the only one from GBA who got offered a scholarship at that university. So there was two of us going there, me and Emil Ostapicuk, who was a great friend of mine, and we roomed together. So it was a win-win situation for both of us, and I think all of us, even William Jewell, I think utilized us in a way that they hoped that we would be able to bring skills or charisma in the team and all these things. So I chose Jewell because Jewell chose me, and I made that decision. It was probably one of the best decisions in my life, apart from obviously that one.
Fair enough. Congrats again. What type of scholarship did you get at William Jewell, and did your grades play a factor?
I was fortunate to get a full ride. I was offered a full scholarship at William Jewell College, which is again a D2 school that had a very, very high academic standards. It actually is called the Harvard of the Midwest. I was fortunate enough to have good SAT scores that I took prior to even the phone call with William Jewell. I racked up enough points to pass the threshold that the William Jewell had. It was much higher than the competition in the area. That's why they really call them the Harvard of the Midwest. Which there's a lot of Harvards of something. Everybody tries to put their name on there. But then I realized that the school actually was the school actually was really, really challenging, and for me it was a great opportunity to explore other assets of my life apart from basketball, because it was challenging. It was not easy. I couldn't just skip classes and stuff. So my grades played a factor, and something that I always try to tell my younger friends is even grades from like eighth grade or seventh grade matter. They looked at my complete school history. They looked at all my grades. They asked me why I failed a class in 2008, and that was because I was sick. But they asked that as well, and because academics was a big part of that scholarship. Although it was called the basketball scholarship, the coach and this coaching staff, they were really adamant about us understanding that we're student athletes, not athlete students. And that was something that my coach Holly, who is one of the winningest coaches in college history in the United States, he was really hard on us about our academics. He knew that that's the way that most of us are going to move forward, because not all of us are going to play professionally in Europe. Not all of us are going to get drafted or anything. So we were student athletes first. Mm-hmm. And academics, even prior to me coming there, I had to prove that my English level was at a level that was enough for the school, and that my overall knowledge of things I even had to take math. I had a pre-calculus class there, which fortunately my math was one of the things that I was good at, or I still believe I am, but that was a big thing, was academics. And apart from my video that I sent them, my highlight video, and apart from the phone call that I had, then I had to talk to a lot of advisors at the school. I had a phone call with a school therapist that was talking about other things with me, and it was a complex thing. And I was again very fortunate to get a full ride, which I'm still very grateful to William Jewell for that offer. And I'm still trying to find a way how to repay William Jewell for that, because they gave me something that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
Hey, you're doing a great job right now, man. Doing a great job promoting the school. What questions did you ask when you was being recruited? What type of information did you want to know?
So, I mean, even though the academics was a big part, I still understood that the number one goal for my scholarship was basketball. So I talked to the coach about things of what kind of team he's trying to build, what players does he utilize, what positions does he want to fill, how he plays, and I asked a lot of things about basketball. We had a great conversation. Coach Holly is one of the most knowledgeable people about basketball I've ever met. And he had a very clear understanding of what is at stake, how he wants to build the team, what positions he wants to emphasize on the court, how defense is the number one thing that he cares about. And that was something that I was better at than offense in my skill set. I was always more of a defender than a offensive-minded guy. So there's a lot of basketball stuff that I asked. They also asked me what I think I can bring to the team. They wanted me to know that they wanted me to say what kind of teammate I am. They asked me questions about that nature, and which was probably the first time somebody asked me what kind of teammate I am. I never thought of that in those words. So obviously I think I was always a good teammate, but never got asked that question. Then the questions I ask, because I had experience. I lived in the United States prior to that experience. I did a high school in there, so I ask about the academics. I ask about the housing and all the things connected to my daily life on campus and how I'm going to be incorporated into it. I was great. It was great that they told me I'm going to have, for the first year, I'm going to have a host family. which was a program at the school. So each international student, they got an opportunity to meet with a family there that was specifically for that person, and we were able to have some lunches or every once in a while and talk about maybe some issues. If I got homesick, I could call them, I could meet with them. I was fortunate that the family that I was assigned was probably the closest family to the organization, to the Jewell basketball organization. Okay. And I had a great time with them. So those were things that I had to figure out prior to coming there. They didn't really affect my decision because I was decided I'm going. But apart from basketball and academics and the thing, I also wanted to know what kind of environment the school provides, and for the players, especially from international, from different parts of the world and from foreign countries.
Okay, nice. Can you tell us what conference William Jewell played in and what the league was like? So what conference and the type of gameplay or the game style? Was it like a guard orientated or a big orientated? Can you tell us about that league a little bit?
William Jewell College played at Great Lakes Valley Conference, GLVC, which is one of the best Division II conferences in the United States. It's actually ranked always in top 3 as far as conferences in D2 go. We had teams that regularly ended in the Sweet 16 tournament. We had teams that even won it. Bellarmine Knights, they won it, I think, several years before I got there. GLVC conference is known to be very fast. The league was very fast. The speed was a big thing, and the orientation as far as basketball tactics goes. The first 2 years it was a little bit different than the year after that. The first 2 years it was big oriented. It was a lot of pick and rolls. It was a lot of reading the pick and rolls and being able to find open shooters, exploit hard hedges, exploit whatever the defense was doing. So that's where I actually got more playing time in my first 2 years, because I was a pick and roll point guard. I always tried to exploit the big man, if he was hard hedging or just containing. And the bigs were very crafty. The bigs and GLVC were very crafty. They could shoot from the outside. They could spin. They could pump fake and go one dribble right, one dribble left, pull up. It was very, very competitive on the bigs. Then the big actually graduated, and the last year was a little bit different. It became more of a league of shooters from behind the 3-point line. Then the team that was the best the first 2 years, which was Bellarmine Knights, they utilized like 4 or 5 bigs in a game, and they were beating teams just because their bigs were so good, and their point guards were really crafty at giving them the ball where they needed it. But then the third year they were not actually that good because their bigs graduated, and teams that had good shooters start to be higher ranked. And even our team on the third year I was there, we got really good outside shooters, and we were able to even beat some of the teams that we didn't beat the previous 2 years. So the league changed a little bit, but the one thing that is constant, and GLVC is like that, is that it's a very fast-paced basketball. The Emil, I talked about him. He went there with me from GBA to William Jewell. He was not a particularly fast guy, and that was the one thing. If he wanted to play, he had to get his feet quickly under him. He had to be quick on his feet on defense, because the bigs again were very crafty. And he was a big guy. So fast-paced basketball, a lot of fast breaks, a lot of chase down blocks, because all the guys were just they had hops and they could block. Back in transition. So that's GLVC basketball was one of the quickest leagues that quickest conferences in the United States. But again, the emphasis on the big guys was very, very big in the first 2 years, and that was very tough to play against it. But it was fun because again, it was a lot of pick and roll. It was very nice. Not many schemes, not many plays, and the teams didn't really have like 45 plays, which is typical in some conferences in US.
Yeah,
every team had about like 7 or 8, but they were really good at those 7-8 plays. Our team had about 16, but we really played, again, 6 or 7 plays a game. We used some plays just once, maybe, if it worked out. So it was about pick and rolls. It was about off the ball screens to find to separate guards from the shooters and find open shooters, and if possible, give it to the big and let him work his way, in the low post and be able to score 1-on-1.
Okay, nice. So, looking at talking about the style of play, I knew a little bit what in your time during the States. When you left, before you went to the States, you would have had to be pretty decent in your club. I know you was at GBA for a bit. You had a defined role. You was accustomed to getting your minutes. Now, when you left GBA, when you left the Czech Republic and you went to William Jewell, I'm sure your role changed. You was no longer a focal point. You no longer had the minutes that you was accustomed to getting. How did you adjust to that change in your role, change in minutes? What are the stuff that you did to get over that?
You're exactly right. My role changed tremendously because I was a captain in GBA for 2 years. I was the guy on the team that that set the pace, that talked to the guys, that was involved in all the things. And then I came to the United States and I was a freshman, and nobody looked at me like a captain. Nobody asked me questions.
Yeah.
But I tried to keep the energy in. I tried to be the guy that would be involved in the guys. If somebody got injured, I was the first one to help. Then I went to the rehab. Ask them how their knee is feeling or how their back is feeling. I try to keep that energy in, and because I'm used to it. I was used to it from GBA. I was used to it my whole life. I was always the guy that tried to be involved with all the other guys. But then again, I was under captain, and I didn't have 25-30 minutes every game to play. Actually, the first time I played was a preseason game, and I got to play like 5 minutes. I scored. I had like 5 points. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna have a lot of minutes as a freshman. And then the coach started playing, and he said, hey, there was a preseason game. You get your chance. Now let's see how you're gonna practice. How you're gonna be. How you're gonna play with the other guys. And I had to figure out how to utilize all the energy that I have and all the drive that I had. How to utilize it even when I was not on the floor. And that was something that I was not really used to. I was always, starting 5. I was always, 35 minutes, 30 minutes on the court, and in the closing minutes of the game, I was always on the court. And now I was not in the starting 5. I was not even the closer. I was just maybe I got second. Obviously we had 2 halves in US, so around the 10-minute mark, I got 4 minutes there, and then I got 3 minutes there. I had to find a way how to be beneficial for the team, how to be somebody that the team needs, and that can give something to the team. I established my role pretty quickly. That everybody knew that I'm very vocal. I was helping on defense. I was sharing on the bench. I was getting the guys on the bench involved, even though I was at the very end of the bench. That's because there was a little hierarchy. Coach wanted his players. The seniors at the top. In an order. So I was at the very end because I was a freshman and a point guard, and we had 3 point guards. So I was the fourth point guard there. So I had to find a way how to get involved into the games, how to make an impact, as much as I could. Which again, I did a lot of cheering. I did a lot of pumping up. Every time we made a 3, I jumped, and I had high fives with different guys. So I wanted to be in the game. I didn't want to just sit there and be grumpy about like, hey, I want to play. But at the same time, I had to think about my minutes, and I wanted to get more playing time. And that was the most important thing for it was just be engaged in every practice, talk to the coach, and stay above the water. Don't get down on yourself. And my role changed even within those 3 years, but I never let down. I never stopped trying to be the most active and the most vocal guy on the court. if it was in practice or in game, because I wanted to help, and it paid off because I got the playing time I think I deserved, and probably even more than I deserved, because I had great teammates. We had a guy from Manchester who was the number one point guard, and he now plays in Spain. And I got to be at some point, because we had some injuries, I got to be the number 2 point guard, and the roles changed even in those 3 years. But I never kept anything against the coaches or against the coaching staff. I trusted them. Because they were the best in the business at my college or in the conference. They were really respected by everybody. So
who's the kid from Manchester?
Staying engaged. Patrick Whelan.
Ah, definitely heard of Patrick. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's a point guard, about 6'4", I think, maybe 6'5". And he was he was freshman with me, and he, because of his height and because the league was very tall, and then he got more playing time the first year and the second year, and then the third year was a starting point guard. So that was because he was just very crafty, very quick. That he fit into that league. It was perfect conference for him. He was super fast. He could block and he could defend. Long arms. Because we didn't have really difficult sets. We didn't have sets of 4, 5, 6 screens. It was maybe 1 or 2. It was not really difficult to get around, to understand the plays, and he was good at it. He developed his jump shot while he was there. He didn't have a jump shot when he came, but he had only a drive. But he developed a jump shot, and even the last year I was there, he even developed a decent three point shot, and he was very key component of the game of the team. And yeah, it was a great experience playing with him and alongside him too.
Nice. Okay, so a little bit about school. What helped you to graduate and play? What advice or what hacks can you give to some of our guys watching? How did you manage to navigate? And especially as you said, you graduated a year early. How did you finish? How did you manage to fit your schoolwork in around your season and playing and practices?
So as I said earlier, our coach was brilliant at making sure that our academics, our school is paramount, and then basketball is the closest second it can be. He wanted us to be in school. He didn't want us to skip school and be on top of school. We had work studies. We had study hours that he wanted us to study, even though it was not like mandatory. But all the guys actually came because we trusted the process. We trusted the coach.
Nice,
so we studied, and we were on top of things. Probably a tip for guys or girls that might go to US to play ball and study at a university. There are 2 relationships that I had to establish very early on that helped me to graduate earlier, and I think that would help me to graduate in normal 4 years. I had to have a great relationship with the coach, because if the coach was on the same page as with me, I had to be with the coach. He had to understand that some things in school I had to do. So sometimes I had to go and I maybe missed like a dinner with the guys because I had a meeting with a professor. So that was important for me to talk to the coach about my academics all the time. I told him, yeah, I'm doing great. I'm maybe falling behind in this subject, and he was able to recommend some things, and hey, talk to the professor. That was one relationship. The second relationship was, I think every school in state does it. You have your advisor, your student advisor, a professor that is from the department that you study, and he is in charge of your credits, your curriculum over the 4-year span. And I had to establish a great relationship with him. I was super lucky that the guy was. I still consider him my idol, my mentor in a lot of things, because he was very, very good at understanding. Although he was not an athlete himself, he was very good at that. He understood that I have basketball and I have school and I have to make it work. And if not for my advisor Gary Armstrong, I would not be able to graduate in 3 years. I would not be able to graduate maybe altogether, because he was great. I talked to him regularly. We had meetings. We scheduled meetings. I went to talk to him about subjects. We talked about my performance. He looked at the grades. He recommended what to do. who to contact, what classes to take. That was so important that he gave me recommendations what class to take, where he knew the professors would be willing to work out the schedule with me about projects and about paper assignments. Because I had basketball, I had to sometimes I missed school because we went on a 3-day field trip to play 2 games on the other side of the conference, and I had to miss classes and because of basketball. And I had classes that I knew the professors were able to maneuver around with me and find solutions and find the way how to get all the paperwork turned in and everything. Mm-hmm. And that was because I made a very close relationship, and I made a really important contact with my advisor. I didn't just consider him like, oh, he's the guy who runs my grades and who will email me if I'm in some kind of trouble. No, I was diligent enough to meet him I think we met every 2-3 weeks and just chat for 30 minutes about the performance in school. He asked me about basketball. He asked me about injuries. It was a great relationship. And those are the 2 people I think that each person that goes to States must keep in their loop, and must keep them in the loop of your studies and of the basketball. They knew each other obviously because the school was not really that big. It was a school that had only about 1,200 students. But forming these 2 relationships was paramount. I would not be able to graduate in 3 years if I didn't have a good relationship with my coach and with my advisor.
Nice. If you could redo anything from your college career, if you could improve on anything of your time in college, what would it be?
I did spend maybe too much time on extracurricular activities with school, and I should have spent more time shooting hoops so I get more minutes. The thing was I had 2 injuries during my 3 years there. I had a meniscus operation on my left knee, and then I was suffering from an elbow issue that I'm not really even sure how it's called in English. But I had a piece of bone removed from my elbow. So I had 2 injuries during my 3 years, and I did a lot of rehab. But then I was in the gym all the time, right? Before school I had class from 9 and I had rehab from 7:30. Hour and a half rehabbing my elbow, my knee. I also hurt my thigh. I probably tore some muscle in there. So I had a lot of rehab during those 3 years.
Yeah, man.
And
for the walls.
Yeah. It was crazy because prior to my university experience, I didn't have injuries. I never sprained an ankle. I never jammed a finger. I was lucky. And then college came and basketball came. A lot of banging, a lot of lifting, weights. So I was in the gym 7 hours a day because of rehab. Then we had weights and basketball practice. Then we had some other things like yoga, like swimming and stuff. So I was kind of ready to go and do something else outside the gym, not be in that. But now when I look back at it, I probably should have spent 1 extra hour there to just shoot on my own and develop my game. Because if I had did that, I would probably consider staying for the extra year, because I know I would be I would be giving the team what I could, but I wasn't at that level, and that's something I regret a little bit. But at the same time, the extracurricular activities opened the world to me in a different way. I have contacts in Washington, D.C., where I did my internship after I finished school. And, I still keep in touch with a lot of the people that I met during these extracurricular activities. So I don't regret it completely, but that's something I would
you could have done differently. I like it. Yeah. And at least you're, I think the best thing about this platform is that getting you guys to be somewhat honest and say, hey, look, this is the way I did stuff. It didn't work out, or, it could have went differently. So, I appreciate the honesty, because that's quite nice. What's the best part of playing college basketball in the States?
Oh, that's hard to say. I enjoyed it so much. I think the best part is traveling with the guys and having the group of people just talking on the bus. We had long bus rides. We didn't fly because the conference didn't really sponsor flying much. Some of the conferences, they fly more. So we had 11-hour, 13-hour bus rides to places to play. Yeah, and the group of guys that we had, was great. You know, we had great captain. We had a great group. We were multicultural as well. I was there. The guy from Manchester, Patrick Whelan. We had a guy from Spain, Javier de la Blanca. We had Emil Ostafici from Prague that played with me. So multicultural group as well. The first year we played with one of the best guys that I met, and I'm not really in touch with him. That's kind of my fault. But Cyril Belong from Kenya. From Cameroon. He was one of the greatest guys that I met. So my favorite part of basketball was being with the guys, being with the team, doing the practices and sweating together, lifting weights together, and just the overall vibe of the basketball in the camaraderie is different. Yeah. It's the camaraderie, yeah, and I enjoy that so much. Because of my job here in Prague in the past 3 years, I wasn't really able to find time to fly back to States and meet with the guys. Which I need to do. I miss them. I wanna say hi to them. I wanna chit chat with them. I wanna go and just talk about their life now. I keep in touch over social media, but not the physical connection. It's not the same. So that's one thing that's hard. I had a chance to stay in States. I had a job offer in Washington D.C. But there were a lot of things that I put on the plus and minus side of staying in States and going back to Czech. One of the biggest things for me is family. I love my family, and I always family for me is number one. And I realized while I was in States that I'm very fortunate to still have all 4 of my grandparents alive, because a lot of my friends in States didn't have that. And I love my grandparents, and I wanted to come back to spend more time with them, and not just see them once a year when I come visit for vacation or something. So that was one of the biggest things for me. And I feel like I created a family in the United States. At William Jewell, we had a family going, and that's credit to the coach, because he was like our grandpa there. He was one of the greatest people that I met in the United States. And he created an environment where we could grow together and have friendships, and not just friendships that were the situational friendship because we met at the team, and but we created friendships that lasted for longer. And we talked about different stuff. We talked about politics. We talked about social issues. We talked about other sports, not just basketball. We just mingled, and it was great experience. So that was probably my favorite part of my 3 years at William Jewell was the camaraderie and the environment that I was in.
Nice. I'm not too sure about D2. I had somebody on earlier in the series, and they spoke about the games, and some games are like really packed and some games are less attended. How did you find the experience of playing with those fans? A lot of times in Europe we don't have like a lot of sold out games, and depending on what level, the fans aren't as into it as sometimes I feel like the college basketball scene. So, talk us through that. So
we had a very diverse conference in that sense. Some of the schools had new gyms for 6,000-7,000 people, and it was packed every time we played there. One of the rivals that we had was Drury University, and they had a beautiful gym, packed, noisy, loud, screaming, a lot of that. And then we had teams that had small gyms for, let's say, 600 people, and we had only, let's say, 300-400 people attending the games. And some of it is like weather conditions. Maybe it was raining or snowing that day, so they didn't really come. But the diversity was very, very, very important to get used to, because every game was different, every environment was different, every fan was different. The fan bases somewhere were like you see on like Sweet 16, when Duke is playing, North Carolina or something like that. That's the environment that we also have at some of the places. Drums, cheerleaders, halftime shows and everything. And then we had games that it was rather quiet, and it was very distinguished. The people in the fans, they were clapping just like that. They were not really screaming or anything. So getting used to that the first year, I was like, hey, are we playing the same conference all the time? Because our gym was kind of in the middle, and then we saw gyms that were even smaller than ours, and then we had gyms that were just huge stadiums, and they were packed every game. So that was getting used to that was crazy. And was kind of difficult, but it added to the experience, because I remember every single place where I played, because it had a unique spirit. Every place where I went, you had a unique spirit. And we preseason games, we played with some D1 schools as well. We played Mizzou, we played Kansas. We were supposed to play Kansas University, but then unfortunately we were not able to, which I wish I could play at KU, because obviously that's the birthplace of college basketball. Actually, a fun fact, the first college basketball game in the United States was played against, the opponents were KU and William Jewell College. The first college basketball game was my college, was the first basketball game against KU. And KU was obviously coached by James Naismith himself. And and it was actually played at William Jewell. So the history was also very close to me, because Kansas City and Missouri are the birthplace of college basketball in that sense, and of basketball overall, because James Naismith was from the area. So, different environments, you have to get used to that quickly, because, if you, sometimes in Czech or in Europe, I had my favorite gyms, right? I like these gyms because there's nothing behind the basket, or there's somebody likes the wall behind the basket. And you have to get used to just the changes, constant changes. One game behind the basket, there will be 300 people with drums, and then another game there will be nobody, because the stands will be on the sides. So changing environments is something that is I think very typical for US conferences, because they're very, very diverse.
Nice. Okay, what's the weather like in your state?
In Kansas City, it was windy. It was very windy. And we had a lot of hailstorms. We had a lot of hurricane warnings, because it's a part of the Hurricane Valley in the United States that goes from Texas all the way to I think like Kentucky or those parts. And we're in the middle of it. So we had a lot of hurricanes, a lot of hurricane warnings every day. I think it was every month we did like a hurricane training, or when the alarm sounded off, we did a lot of that. We got some snow as well, which I'm used to it from Czech, so that was not a big thing for me. But overall, it was very humid, because we had a couple of rivers around us that kept the humidity high, and it was good. It was nothing I wasn't used to, so I didn't really struggle with the weather.
So we got hurricane warnings and snow, and it was like, it's good weather.
Yeah, I'm kind of used to it, so yeah.
What's the must-see destination in Kansas City?
There are some great ones. I would say there's a great place downtown Kansas City. There's a World War I museum, and from that museum, which has a pillar, I don't know how many feet tall. I would be lying if I said a number. Very tall pillar where you can go on top of it, and from the top you can see the whole Kansas City. And right under you there's a field. There's a grassy field, and at the end of it there's a central station, and that's one of my favorite places that I like to visit when I had an off time, because the view from there was beautiful, and you could see the Grand Central Station, with trains coming in and out. So that was the place. But I would have to say, if you are in Kansas City, you have to taste the barbecue, because the Kansas City barbecue is one of the best in the world. And there are places where you must go. And the best barbecue in Kansas City is at the gas station, believe it or not. It's called Kansas City Joe's. It's a gas station in Kansas City. And you go there, people get their gas there, and you go inside the shop. And the shop is divided into parts. One part has a regular stuff, and the other part is a restaurant. And they just have a little window. They have a little window in the wall, and they give you these best ribs that I never had better ribs than there. So barbecue in Kansas City overall is good, but Kansas City Joe's, oh boy, that was a place.
Kansas City Joe's. Well, that just knocked off the the next question of the best food. So I love it.
That's answered. That's answered. Yeah.
What's the best place to get kicks?
I was a sneakers fan, not now because I don't really use many of them. I don't have to, which is kind of sad because I really like to buy shoes all the time. To be honest, I was not overflowing with money when I was in Kansas City. I had to find a job. I was working in the because people from outside the United States, they can't, if they're on a scholarship, they can't work outside the campus. Really, they have to work on the campus. So I worked in the cafeteria for 3 years. Great times, by the way, and I was able to make some money. But it was not enough for me to go to like Dick's and buy just great new Nikes or something. But I found, and I think that all people who go to States, they should explore. They should explore these outlet places. And the best two outlet places are Marshalls. You could get great stuff at Marshalls, for very, very good prices. And then Ross, Dress for Less, and you got shoes there as well. So these two places were my home because I didn't really have hundreds of dollars on my account every day. I was glad I got some money from the work that I did. But I went to Marshalls and I went to Dress for Less for my stuff, for my shoes and everything.
Hey, nice. Hey, no knocking it, man. What's the best American holiday and why?
Oh, there are some great ones, but I have to say Thanksgiving, and I think all the Europeans would agree that Thanksgiving is it's so much food, so much great food, and of course the football atmosphere that Thanksgiving is around, because that's when the big games start, and that's when every family has their own team and they dress in their jerseys and everything. So for me, Thanksgiving was probably the best holiday in States. I didn't care much for Christmas. I didn't care for Halloween, although haunted houses during Halloween are crazy fun, and I recommend haunted houses or cornfield fights or cornfield chases or something like that. But Thanksgiving must be the one. Thanksgiving must be the one.
Okay. I haven't heard of cornfield fights, but I mean, hey.
Yeah, we did some of them. We did some of them. That you get like these foam swords in the cornfields, and the cornfields they're like a maze, and you just go around and you just play with foam swords, and it's so much fun. Yeah.
Hey, that does sound kind of cool if I was in college.
Yeah.
Right. So, what's the time difference between the Czech Republic and Kansas City, and how did you deal with communicating with your family? Kind of bypassing that time period.
So it was 7 hours, but because the daylight saving time is different time in US than in Czech. So at one point it was even 8, but then it was actually 6 because the times in the summer and in the winter, or in the they're different. So at one point it was 8, at one point it was 6, but overall it was 7 hours time difference. It took us about a half a year with my family to find the rhythm of us talking, when, which day, what time is best. Then we found that the best time is when I wake up. That's when I start, probably like this, like we have this conversation now. When I woke up in States, that's when they got off work, so that's when we talked. And then sometimes before I went to sleep, and they already were awake, so sometimes even in their morning. But the best time was when I woke up. So I woke up, let's say 30 minutes before I wanted to, every week once, or maybe once in 2 weeks, and we set up a FaceTime and we just talked on the phone for a little bit. But the great thing about social media today is that you can just message all the time on Facebook or Instagram and DM, all these things. When I was in Texas 10 years ago, Facebook was in its birth, so couldn't really use those things. So it was a little bit more difficult when I was in Texas. But when I was in college, it took us a half a year to figure out the best times, but then those 3 years we had great talks in the mornings and in my mornings when I woke up in States. So those were the times that we talked to, and it was pretty cool. I didn't really get homesick myself because I was kind of used to living in States already, and I had so much stuff to do, and that was the most important thing for me. was to just fill my schedule up, just do all these things, never stay in my room looking at just movies. Like I went with friends, I went out, we did a lot of things, a lot of movie nights, a lot of activities at the school, a lot of things. We had poker nights, that the school organized. And so, talking to the family was very, very good. It was nothing that I found hard to do.
Okay, nice. How do you deal with the distractions? You're away from home. As you said, you're 7 and 8 hours away from, time difference from your homeland. You don't have your parents. You don't have certain friends. There's bound to be a lot of influence or opportunities to indulge in alcohol and drugs. Can you talk to us about that? What's that like?
I'll be very open with you because I think that's important. There were a lot of opportunities, and I'm myself very, very strong in that sense. Lot of kids at my college were smoking weed. A lot of them were doing some drugs. They call it pre-game, to go to party and things like that. I surrounded myself with good people. Most of the kids on our team, they didn't even drink much alcohol. Nobody smoked cigarettes. Weed was only occasional thing in the summer when they knew that they had time off. So I surrounded myself with the good people, with good friends. We didn't do much. I was used to drinking a little bit when I was in Czech. We're a beer country. So, every once in a while I got myself, a nice beer, maybe a glass of wine or something like that. But the important thing was surround yourself with the good people. And that's not easy to do. That's not easy to do because there are a lot of distractions, as you said, a lot of parties. You get invited to the fraternities and sororities, and you want to be in it because you don't want to be left out of the people, of the groups and of the communication and networking, everything. At the same time, the most important thing for me was when I came to US, I had my girlfriend already in Czech. The most important thing for me was to tell all the people up front that I'm in a serious relationship. And the second most important thing for me was I'm not doing any drugs and I'm here to play basketball. And, it took me a couple months to get all the people to understand who am I. If I didn't do that, I'm afraid I would be tempted to, every once in a while do something. But, I told all the people from the get-go, I'm here for basketball and for academics, for studying, and I have a committed relationship. And the first month I was tempted by a lot of people. Hey, this girl likes you, and hey, let's go with the guys there, and they have some cool stuff. You're gonna try something new. From the very first day, I had to be very diligent and say, hey, I have a purpose here. I'm here on a very thin ice because I got a scholarship offer, full ride. I'm from Czech Republic. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. I had to make sure everybody understands my position, and then. They didn't let me out. They wanted me in, but they understood that I'm there and that I'm very strong about my position there. And they didn't offer me drugs. They didn't after that 1 month or 2 months when it was difficult. They didn't offer me drugs. They didn't expect me to ask for it. They knew that I'm not going to be messing around with girls. And they still allowed me in because they respected me for it. And I think that's the most important thing. Yeah.
That's good. Now that you've been, graduated, 3 years now, and you're reflecting back on your time, what advice would you give to the recruits or the prospective recruits that are planning to go and play in the States now? What advice would you give them?
Go all out. I mean, just give your best, because it was the best thing that I could do for my life. It was taking the opportunity and working for the opportunity to come, because I had to sacrifice a lot of good times with my friends here in Czech. Julian, GBA, his schedule and how hard practices were, and just put the sweat in, put the time in, put the effort in, because it's gonna pay off. I mean, no matter how your college career goes as far as basketball, because mine wasn't the best. I will admit, I wasn't The expectations were high on my part and maybe on the coaches, but I don't think we completely met them. But I was able to give the team something else. I was the glue, and I was the guy that always talked and supported and cared. So go all out, go invest your time, and it's gonna pay off, because you will have such a broad plate full of opportunities in states, where to work, who to talk to, where to play next. And don't get disappointed when something bad happens. It happened to me. Injuries happen, bad grades happen, bad experiences happen. Maybe sometimes even it happened to myself. I got with a wrong group, and then I was perceived in the team a little bit differently, and because the group was not really a good group at one point. So keep going, keep doing the right things. Decisions are important to make. And just go all out. There's no looking back once you decide you want to go, and you can't go halfway. You have to go all the way there. You can't go halfway.
I love it.
Yeah.
Simon, thank you very much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you, man.
It was great hearing a lot of words of wisdom, and you articulated yourself pretty well in terms of being able to make that stand. That's what I really like from our talk, is being able to establish, hey, this is what I'm about. This is what I'm willing to do or not willing to do, kind of thing, and being able to stand strong in that. And that's tough. A lot of these guys and girls watching now, it's going to be tough. You're going to get influenced. You're going to be tempted, but it's being able to try and hold firm and just understand you're there for a reason. Yeah. So I appreciate that, man. It was really great talking to you.
Yeah, it was I had a lot of fun, and thanks for doing this again, because I think it's important for people of 16, 15 years of age to hear, first of all, because you were very influential in my life as well. I got to meet you before I went to do my university time. And I still remember we had that one picture with the two guys from Great Britain. We were taking a picture in the gym in Prague, and that's still one of my favorite pictures, because I saw the younger guys that kind of looked up to me, but then I looked up to you and Julian and all these people, and we need to help each other to figure out what we want in our life and how to get there, and help each other to find the ways. And that's probably what you're trying to do, and I think that's a great effort and great job that you're doing, and keep doing the great stuff, because I think that's one of the best ways to open up the world for yourself, is to go and from Europe all the way to the United States and play ball, or any other sport in that matter. So thanks for doing that, and I'm glad I was I could be a little part of it and share my story.
Appreciate it.
Hey, my name is Simon Zajicek, and you've been watching the Eurostepping. And don't forget, it's in your hands, and you should definitely go to the United States.
The game was different, right? The rules was different. The ball was different.
The Euro style is different in America.
The Euro style was a lot different than America.
That's the first time y'all seen that Euro step too, huh?
Absolutely.